In our overcommunicated society, there's a paradox, and that's that communication is more important than ever. Hi, I'm Chris, a doctor. I'm going to tell you about a concept called positioning and how this can help you with not just marketing. Because no matter how talented or ambitious you are, and what some people actually refer to as luck, if you cannot get the right thing to the right person at the right time, you may not inspire action. So positioning, this is how you differentiate yourself in the mind of a prospect. And this concept is extremely important, but it's not just marketing, because you could position a person, a politician, or even a company. And to be successful today, you first must touch base with their reality. And it's the prospect's reality that actually counts. What's already in their mind? Because to be creative, to create something that doesn't already exist in the mind of your prospect is becoming more and more difficult, if not potentially impossible. So the basic approach to positioning is to create something new and different, but it links to what somebody already knows. It's to manipulate what's already in their mind and then to retie the connections that already exist with the concept that you want to get through. Because the impact of our advertising in our current society is really minimal. It would overstate the potential effectiveness of our advertising campaign. Say we pay for YouTube ads, etc. Comparing to the budgets of these multinational things that are bombarding people, it's just really egocentric to assume that your advertising would really have any significant impact, because there's this communication jungle out there. And the only hope to score big is to actually be selective, to concentrate and narrow targets, to practice segmentation. In a word, we'd call it positioning. And the average person can actually tolerate being told something which he or she knows nothing about. But, and that's in part why news is effective, because you may not know anything. So you're then hearing about a new concept and you're interested in this. And that can actually be used as an advertising approach. But the same average person cannot tolerate being told that he or she is actually wrong. So the only defense that most people would try is to just oversimplify our minds so that the over-communicated society doesn't stop our own functioning. And there's this concept of outside-in thinking, because really the truth is irrelevant. What matters are the perceptions that exist in people's minds. And this essence of positioning helps you think to accept that the perceptions as reality, then structure the perceptions to create the position that you desire. So you're thinking what they already know, the inside thinking, and trying to change the outside to then have maximum effect on their inside thinking. And if you actually want to be successful in life, in business, in love, then actually you must appreciate the importance of being first into the mind, because you get brand loyalty in the supermarket the same way almost that you get brand loyalty in a mate, in a marriage. And that's because you just need to be the first person for them to think of, and then be careful not to give them a good reason not to switch. Because in advertising, it's actually ideally, of course, best to be the best product in the field, but it's actually even better to be first, because if you're the thing that the person thinks of, that's what they may well buy. And you see really what you expect to see. We taste what we expect to taste. And that's why so much effort has gone into advertising, designing bottles in such a way, hyping people up. This is a fantastic smell of this new perfume. And then when they smell it, they'll just get what they think they're going to get. And that's actually the prime advertising aim, to heighten those expectations, to create an illusion that a product or service will give those miracles you expect. And as if by magic, it does. And we might be taught that anything is possible if only we try hard enough. But no matter how hard we try, some problems, they just can't be solved, and particularly not by an outside force. So the take-home message here is, don't fight perceptions with facts. Perceptions will always win. So names are really important. For example, if you're naming a product, what you don't want to do is your competitor to kind of put negative perceptions in potential clients' minds about your good name. Instead, try and level the playing field. If they're more established, don't try and say that you're better than them. Say that you're different to them. And in fact, naming children is even important. There were these two professors, Dr. Herbert Harary and Dr. John W. McDavid, and they were looking at how the impact of school forenames had on how basically others perceive them. So they got some compositions, i.e. assignments, which they attributed to people with different names and submitted them to be marked. And it was of interest that the two with the more easy to pronounce names, David and Michael, scored much better than the people with the unpopular names, which were Hubert and Elmer. I'm sorry if Hubert and Elmer is your name. I know a good friend's dog is called Elmer, but he's not having to submit schoolwork because he is a canine. However, the authors actually speculated that basically teachers gave a lower mark because they thought, well, Hubert or Elmer, they're actually generally a loser, which is just so bizarre. But if you think of other names such as Cyril and John, according to a psychologist with an easy name, David Shepard, people actually who don't know anyone with a particular name will think they're going to be sneaky. So Cyril, you'll think this person's going to be a bit sneaky, whereas John, you think this person's going to be trustworthy. So to be well known also, avoid using initials. Now you'll say, what about FDR and JFK? Well, the irony here is that Franklin Delano Roosevelt and John Fitzgerald Kennedy could only actually use their initials after they became famous, not before. So you can't make a set of initials famous unless you first make that name famous. When a really new product comes along, it's almost a mistake to hang on a well-known name. So you may think the well-known name has got a lot of traction, people will believe it, and it stood for something. But, and the prospect, more importantly, has that product in a position in their mind. However, the really well-known name really sits at the top of a rung of sharply defined products, almost a ladder. And by using a well-known name such as a new brand of Coca-Cola, in fact, you're diluting the first. And so this is what they may refer to you here as line extension. And the Harvard Business School, HBS, or the Business Review, they came out and declared that line extension was a no-no. And many companies just still do this anyway. And it's because short-term line extension gives some instant flash of recognition, but longer term, the prospect soon forgets if there is such a product, and potentially it can dilute down and erode the strength of what was a really strong brand. Because a company name is a bit like an elastic band. It will stretch, but not beyond a certain point. And if you also stretch that band too much, it becomes weaker. Because remember, the key is that a potential buyer is looking at a company from the outside. They see a name such as Coca-Cola as a product, not as a company. So marketing agencies often can try and provide that outside-in thinking objectively and provide that expert input to some companies. However, it may be expensive to get that objective opinion. Whatever you're selling, companies, soft drinks, anything. If you're out of mind, you're out of business. So just remember that. Get in the prospects' minds. This can even happen for selling a country for tourism. Firstly, remember that the views of somebody who lives somewhere is different from a visitor. However, let's take Belgium, for example. People assumed it's somewhere to travel through. Then there was a great advertising campaign that was designed, and it said, in Belgium, there's 5 Amsterdams, and there's also Michelin 3-star cities. This was a fantastic positioning marketing campaign because it got a concept, a city, Amsterdam, that the prospect knew of, it said it's like it. It also added credibility, saying the Michelin stars. And then it says there's 5 of them, so it means it's a bona fide destination. And remember though, if you're leading a positioning marketing campaign, then you almost need to keep going at it. And there's this kind of perception that leadership is something that you can cash in the bank when it comes to positioning, because if you can keep in front of potential prospects' minds, you will succeed. But it's a long-term commitment that you need to do, and therefore keep at it. And when you're thinking about yourself, you can use positioning to market yourself. Which company do you work for? Are they going places? If they're not, you may want to leave. The saying goes that a captain of a sinking ship still sinks. And also your boss, are they going places? Are they progressing? Because it's important to be associated with those who are truly progressing. Clearly keep in touch with your friends along the way as well. If you're thinking of going for a job, let's say there's 2 different types of people. One says, I've got these skills, you need me because I'm good at this and you need me. The other says, you are really strong in this speciality, I want to do a terrific job and work with the best. Which one do you think will get the job? Sadly, candidate number 2, because they've just positioned themselves there. In terms of ideas, if you wait until an idea is accepted, it may be actually too late. Someone else will have preempted it. Another way of saying it, this is that if something is definitely in, then it's on its way out. Thinking about the ideas and riding the idea horse, you must be willing to expose yourself to ridicule and controversy. And so maintain that faith in yourself and also faith in others, and keep going with your purpose, because we have to remember that trying harder is really the way to success. It's actually trying smarter, positioning your goals in a mind of a prospect that will help, because it's not down to the product, it's down to the prospect's minds. I hope you found that helpful. Feel free to explore the other videos on my channel, and I'll see you next time.